Hello, so this is Dylan, and I'm going to be doing a source onboarding tutorial for sources that are outside of inventory source. So if you have an outside supplier you'd like to add, here's the tutorial that'll help you out. For starting off here, you'll go to your Flxpoint account, you'll click Sources, and then you'll click this green plus button up here. You'll give us what source type you're looking for, so if it's a data source, vendor warehouse, external warehouse. You'll name that source, and then you'll create a new vendor. I already created it, so that'll be brands distributing, and that's just a naming convention. It doesn't actually configure anything. So we'll save that new source, and you'll then see it up here. To add this integration, we'll click this gear icon, integrations, get source products, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to import those products, create an integration, and then we'll select the integration type. So that could be TradeGecko, CSV, Ordoro, Shopify, whatever it may be. But for this, we'll use CSV. You'll give us the file name. Do we get the images from that FTP? What kind of file format is it? How do we delimit that file? Is there quote characters? Are we using headers? The number of rows to skip, if that's applicable. By default, you'll probably not have any rows to skip, but it's good to have the option. And then if there's an Excel sheet index to use as well. So once that file is configured, we'll come down to connection. We'll click new. We'll name it. And we'll select what connection type we want this to be. Well, I've already kind of gone through and done this for brands distributing. And I decided FTP with a port of 22, a password, name, password, username, name, user, and then whatever host it may be. So this will change based on your personal user account with them. It'll change based on the source as well. You'll then give us the remote file folder, remote file name. So this is like the directory and the end file name that we pull that information from. And we will want to come and create a mapping template. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky. So we'll click create a mapping template. We'll come to files, and we want to get source products mapping template. So that's how are we going to import the actual product. Create a new template. So for this, we'll do brands distributing. And we'll load up all of the files we're looking for. So we're going to look at the column header name or the column index positions, whichever you'd prefer, whichever one applies to you. And here we do something that is called template mapping or mapping rules, mapping sets. So we're going to decide from value that's provided by the CSV to what value we want it to populate in Flxpoint. The most common one is going to just be the same kind of header, but it might be manufacturer, it might be brand, it might be BRA, it could be a few different things that'll actually map to brand. You can come down here for category 1. A common one is cat 1, cat 2. If your supplier does provide a cat 3, and you're really just telling us from the file you're providing or from the file that brand is distributing is providing, what value are we trying to pull and how do we want it to display on our side? So maybe if they don't provide a long description, we just use a short description as something to import to the description field. If the parent SKU isn't the header parent SKU, we map in SKU. Title could be product title, something like that. So we're really just creating a kind of template that we can use to import the products in the same kind of format that we're looking for in Flxpoint. And this is going to vary by supplier, and it's going to vary on how much information that the supplier is giving to you. So we'll take a little bit of time to do it at first, depending on how complicated the file is. But this is how you can get the most kind of customized data feed that you'd like. And you can do those fancier type things where you have a bunch of different attributes that are all loading in, a bunch of different categories that are loading in. And this is pretty important to the actual function of the software. So for our intents and purposes here, we'll do brand, and then we'll click save. This isn't going to be an active mapping template, it's just to move through the tutorial. come back to brands, integrations, get source products, create an integration. And since we didn't save it previously, it didn't save, unfortunately. File name, CSV, don't need any of that. Connection, brands distributing, file 1, file 2. If I test it, it's going to say failed because it's not real. But now we'll come to mapping template, and we'll be able to use that mapping template we just created. Come to save and run, we'll enable it, set my time for how often do I want to pull source products, and then save and run that integration. And that'll import everything from that file that Brands Distributing is providing you or any other source is providing you. So thanks for hanging out there with me and doing this tutorial. I appreciate it, and I hope it helped out. Thanks. Bye.